All right. So I need to cover this too because a lot of my frustration from people who do question jelly juice and salt and all of that, a lot of my frustration comes from the fact that there are assumptions made when it comes to salt and then the diagnosable diseases or the fears around the salt because the medical holistic industry assumes people are not drinking enough water, or they purposely write articles that will only compartmentalize the compound salt and not say that the person wasn't drinking enough water. The person um, has a diet of mostly soda, mostly teas and other beverages, but never enough water. Or when you have a high sodium diet, like in processed foods, most people are not drinking enough water. Okay, so when you don't drink enough water, what's going to happen when you eat a high salty diet? Obviously, you're going to have restriction of blood vessels. Obviously, you're going to have other issues that go on because you're not drinking enough water. Okay, water and salt is the amazing energy force. Salt is amazing of itself, but salt by itself, obviously, you put salt on a slug, it's going to disappear the slug. When you have high blood pressure, and you do the salt will increase the flow, the antidiuretic hormone, which has you retain water and then pushes the volume of blood through constricted blood vessels because people are taking prostaglandin inhibitors. Okay, and so there's these assumptions that people are not drinking enough water, and so when the medical holistic industry writes these articles, they purposely have you assume that it's the people are that are not. They have you assume that only salt is what that people are just doing salt but not water. And they might be right. But that's the failure of the medical holistic industry. They don't tell you that you need to increase your water dosage. You need to increase your intake of H2O, which is the balancing force of salt, which is what lowers high blood pressure, which expands your blood vessel with the water, with the salt, which will allow the body to be able to run the way it's supposed to. Okay, when you have something like the ocean, which has a high salinity, and animals like whales and sharks are living it, there's so much life in the ocean. Well, those animals have adapted to that atmosphere, to that environment. Okay, humans, when we drink something like ocean water, which is not recommended, but if you do, drink a bunch of water. But I'm not saying to do that. Jelly juice has high salinity, but guess what? You're going to get thirsty. You're going to drink water. And it's going to maximize your ability to then process the salt. The salt will then energize your immune system and suppress the wrong hormones and express the right ones. Well, what are right and wrong hormones? Well, geez, when you are high on oxytocin, high on adrenaline, and then you do the J juice, you're going to have the immune system finally recalibrate the body. But see, that's what is so insidious and so deceptive about the medical holistic industry, is that they compartmentalize these elements and then they demonize them. And then what happens is yes, they have people who are obese, who are underweight, obese, cardiovascular issues, whatever, not drinking enough water, have a high sodium diet, and then this is what happens because they're not drinking enough fucking water. That's what happens. And so when people are having issues with the J juice, right, and they're seeing that they have swelling going on, swelling, and they have high blood pressure, which is their predispositions. Well, guess what? They're not drinking enough water. They're drinking everything else under the sun, but no water. And so for some reason, the medical holistic industry really, I mean, I see some of the holistic industry say, oh yeah, you should drink more water, but it doesn't really, they don't really go into the scientific why. They just have it say, like, just like any other judgment out there, any other industry that wants to judge people on what they eat, they say, oh, you should drink more water instead of soda because soda is so bad for you. Soda isn't bad for you in of itself. Soda has, minerals and it has sugars that your body needs. Okay. But obviously, if you have imbalances, then yeah, you're going to have to deal with recalibrating your body and only drink a little bit of soda. Like, when I was drinking a whole bunch of soda like a month ago or so, drinking a bunch of soda and I was eating a bunch of meat, my body was trying to adapt to this COVID. My dog, she was going through the shakes back in March. She was going through major shakes. And so I gave her the J juice with the syrup, with the maple syrup. And she finally got rid of the shakes because it's like a hypoglycemic effect. So in my book right now, there's an actual emergency recipe that if you have some kind of hypoglycemia, which I don't know, I mean, I say I have it substantiated, but I'm not trying to give medical advice. Like in my book, I am not giving medical advice. I don't want to give medical advice, but I'm showing you that the J juice can handle all of your medical issues, but you have to understand how they work and how they operate. And you got to drink water. Okay? And so, anyway, so that's what I deal with is, so when people say, oh yeah, you know, J juice constricts blood vessels and J juice creates high blood pressure and J juice is this and J juice is that, you know, no, it doesn't. When you have lack of water is what is causing a lot of people's issues. Okay. And so, but I mean, there is nothing that's dangerous out there. You just have to understand how to read your body. Okay. All of you have predispositions. You don't drink enough water. You have imbalances. And then, you know, then you're hearing the fears from the holistic allopathic world where they're like, oh my God, it's doing this and doing that to you. Yeah. Based upon someone who doesn't drink enough water. I mean, look at the commercials out there. They're selling you every drink under the sun, a probiotic drink, you know, a new soda, a new alcohol, a new juice drink, a new concoction, a new cocktail. Okay, those are good. Yes, they're great. They're yummy. But most people out there who have predispositions can't afford to be drinking just that. They got to bring in the water. And then they wonder why it is that they have retention. When you have, when you have water retention because you're eating a lot of salt, it's because it's that antidiuretic hormone that kicks in to save you from dehydration. Okay? And that's from lack of water again. Constricted blood vessels from a high salt diet is from lack of water. High blood pressure is from lack of water. What else? Anything that they want to demonize in the allopathic holistic world when it comes to salt is because of lack of water. Hold on. My dog wants to go out. Come on, sugar. Go. So, you know, again, everything comes down to, oh, geez, sugar. Okay. My God. Everything comes down to a lack of water. Everything does. Everything comes down to a lack of water. So when you're doing the J juice and you do a quart, I usually do about 2 or 3 quarts of water. I wait, I let my body let me know. I always have water on hand, especially after doing waterfalls. I have water near my bedside. I have water everywhere. I don't not have water around me. But some of you are so busy, you're not paying attention. And then you're drinking everything else under the sun. You're drinking alcohol, you're drinking everything else, and that it depletes you, dehydrates you. Okay? And so I'm not saying drink so much water where it drowns you. Hell no, you don't want to drink so much water where it drains your electrolytes. It has to be a balance. And your body will let you know how much is too much when you're not thirsty. But see, even though some people say, well, I'm not thirsty when well, you know, here's the thing. When you see your body swelling, if you're not thirsty and you see your body swelling, it means you're not drinking enough water. There are indicators. When you're doing J juice and your body swells, it's because you're not drinking enough water and it's triggering the antidiuretic hormone, the ADH. Okay? When you're thirsty, you drink water. So if you're not feeling thirsty and you're watching your body swell, it means that you need to drink water. And when you drink water, that swelling does disappear over time. How long it takes? I have no idea. I'm not your doctor. But there are indicators out there that people ignore. And then when they have all the swelling, they want to go to the doctor, and the doctor gives them water pills. Right, Jack, your son. So I don't have people say salt is bad, but what about alcohol? Oh, yeah. Alcohol is probably the worst thing ever. I have quit alcohol. And the only guilty pleasure I have, which is a very nice guilty pleasure, is Starbucks. Okay? And that's my only guilty pleasure. And it's always been really my go-to my whole life. Okay? But now I can use Starbucks to my advantage. I don't do Starbucks every day. I think every so often I'll treat myself and get my adrenaline going to get me to the next level of evolution. and then, let it calm down. And it does wear me out. Being on a Starbucks for, for 24 hours wears me out. And I got to go and recalibrate. But I just want to, put this out there for anyone that has an issue with salt. The reason why all these, like the hypernatremia from lack of water. Hyponatremia is too much water, not enough salt. So any issue anyone has around salt is because of lack of water. Period, point, freaking blank. I can't express that enough, and there's no way to express that enough. But you'll never hear that in the holistic allopathic world. You'll never hear it that, but you'll hear the holistic people, oh yeah, you should drink more water. But you'll never see them connected to the whole salt stuff. It's always in separate. So go Google salt and all the different issues around salt, and you'll never see them talk about the lack of water. You'll see them talk about, oh yeah, this person's obese and they have these issues, and that's why they say you should have, the recommended, not by law, but recommended dosages of salt should be like 20 something or 2,000 or whatever. But they don't tell anything about water. Nothing, nary, nothing. Because that's not the point of the allopathic holistic. Now, I know a naturopathic Demi who, she's out in a different country, I think Australia. She says that she recommends salt, but now it's not recommending the stupid cell salts, the stupid pink salts, the stupid black salts, I say stupid because they're so full of minerals. The mineral salts, the sea salts, none of that stuff. It should be white iodized salt or non-iodized. Not all these fancy imported crappy ass salts out there because they're being sold the whole mineral side of it. I mean, there's people like Santos Bonacci. I respect the dude because he has passion, but he's selling the whole cell salts. But he's aging and degrading. What would happen if Santos Bonacci did the J juice with the white salt, stopped selling the cell salts? He would see reversal in all of his aging and degrading. But no, that's not the purview. There's so much more of a story and a fun story around selling a marketing gimmick. Oh, you get all these minerals and it's part of the whole, the astrology, and then you're part of the stars because you have all these different cell salts, and then they just break it down to all of these things, these wonderful stories that people are emotionally attached to, and that's what has them buy all their crap. Simple white iodized salt. They're like, oh, but all the chemicals it goes through to bleach the salt. I mean, that's what I hear. All the stories, but it's the chemicals and then the iodized. That's like synthetic and it's not good. Do you know how many freaking chemicals are in pink salt? But we still healed on that, yes. But not everybody. Some people plateaued on the pink salt and they went off in their own direction. And then this last February, I evolved to the white salt, and believe me, people were fighting me tooth and nail because they didn't want me to change from the pink salt because that was their selling point. People in my world, their selling point was a freaking pink salt because the stories around it. It was entertaining talking about how wonderful all these freaking chemicals or minerals. Yeah, they're great in their place. But when you're trying to get straight energy source, okay, the bleach is not bad for you when you're bleaching the salt. It's just a few minerals, but believe me, it's not as many minerals as in flipping pink salt. Okay, and then the iodized is iodine, whatever, synthetic or what? Who cares? It's just minerals, but it's not as much as in these mineral salts that are out there. 82 and 86 minerals. That's a lot of heavy metals, but we still healed on that. But we didn't heal as fast, and people were falling off and they were plateauing. And then people are not drinking enough water either. They're too busy. I understand y'all have your jobs and things are going on. But at some point, you're going to have to pay attention to your body, mind, and spirit. And drink water on the J Juice protocol. Drink water when you're eating your dinners and all that stuff. Okay? I mean, when I was drinking the coffee the other day, I was in the bathroom. It was a diuretic. I was in the bathroom like every hour releasing the excess minerals that were in the coffee. And then finally yesterday I had to take a nap because I really I use up a lot of my battery. And so, and that's the thing is that, yeah, when you're constantly, doing a caffeine every single day and you're just amped, It's like you'll be amped one day and you got to take rest the other day. You're amped one day, take rest the other day. It's like an every other day type of thing. If you're amped every single day and you're living off adrenaline, you are draining your battery. So that's the whole thing with balance with J juice is you learn how to balance out your hormones. And water is probably one of the most, I don't know, the most important things that do not get enough credit when it comes to the salt. And so that's why they're able to demonize salt, because they fail to talk about water and salt, how they're both, you need to have a good balance of water with whatever salt you're dealing with. And so, and that's what I deal with, is those that focus on the industry demonizing elements because they want to sell you a product. When you're on a low sodium diet, not drinking enough water, you're going to have imbalances. You're not going to want to feel your immune system activate. You're not going to want to feel pain. And so you're so ripe for the taking. And then you get health insurance, and then you have a long list of prescription drugs, and you're feeling like you're revering all these doctors who are pouring through these medical journals that have compartmentalized your body, and you're like, oh yeah, they're like gods. No, they're just learning how to sell your body parts to the highest bidder. I'm not trying to make offense to those that help people at the 11th hour, triage doctors. But those that actually are specialists are the ones you should fear the most. The oncologists, you need to fear the most. Like, seriously. The naturopathics that are selling you cannabis and detoxes and their ECAC tea, you need to fear them the most. And so that's, that's what clicked with me the last couple of days. Because no matter what, I can write 1 billion books on salt, and I can substantiate everything through PubMed, through whatever. But guess what? They will still go and look on the internet and find the perception that fits their belief system and go with it as if it was fact. That's the ignorance I deal with. It's the people that try to dress up perception as it's fact. When it comes down to Jilly Juice is a fact that when you bring in these elements, it's going to energize your immune system and going to release the prostaglandins, or it's going to express them. You're going to feel pain. And that's the healing process. That's fact. You can Google it in PubMed. Okay? But no, you get the perception that pain is bad, and then people read the medical journals, and then that's how they substantiate their belief system. I'm sorry, you're reading a perception, you're not reading fact. They're failed to bring in other things that you're not aware of, like people are not drinking enough water. Yes, if you don't drink enough water, you're going to have constriction in your blood vessels. You're going to have, high blood pressure. You're going to have water retention. You're going to be swelling if you're not drinking enough water and you're taking salt. That's a duh. But they don't say that in these journals. And they do that for a reason. Because to sell you an idea or sell you a cure. Oh yeah, you want to lower your high blood pressure? Just drink a bunch of water. I'm going to charge you $1,500 for that advice. And that's what happens with some of these naturopathics and homeopathics and whatever. You know what? You know how to solve your high blood pressure? Get off the sodas. Drink water. And that's what reels people into paying a shit ton of money for something as simple as, hello, people don't drink enough water. And then now with the J juice, they're not drinking enough water. People are freaking out because, yeah, you're not drinking enough water and you're not understanding pain is healing, and you're still listening to the medical holistic industry. It's a no duh. You're going to try to find every substantiation in the world to fit your stupid belief system. I know I'm being judgmental, but I'm tired of people still trying to find evidence of a substantiating to their perception and dressing it up as a fact. I'm tired of it. So this is why I'm writing another book, to show people how brainwashed they are, that the universities subjectify and they compartmentalize everything. So that way you never make the connections. And that's why, it's very difficult to get your kids who are very college educated understanding J juice, because you haven't come to terms with the fact that you realize you promote a very subjective system that doesn't make the connection to the bigger picture. University is very, very good when you finally know the big picture, and then you want to learn the components on areas like let's say the environment. The bigger pictures, you need to have, a balance of the microbiome and all. But if you want to have a solution, then you learn the components. But people right now are learning components of something, not knowing the bigger picture, and then we get caught up in the manipulation, and then our kids become cannon fodder for the system. Our kids become weapons for the system. And that's why they can't understand J-Juice, because they're still being sold that they need to understand subject matters, not the bigger picture. I'm sorry, but you realize that if your kids are stuck in a very tunneled perception, in a tunneled subjective system, they're not going to get J-Juice. And if you can't come to terms with that and can't find a way to express that it's great that you're college educated, but you're learning a very subjective tunneled perception that is not fact. And you've got to learn how to be able to understand your own contribution to subjectifying everything and figure out how to be objective. How do you do that? Well, you got to keep doing the J-Juice. Learn about yourself and your contribution to this chaos. And then learn how to talk about it where it's not going to completely turn people off, but they understand how it all works, how everything works. That's the whole point of J-Juice, learn how everything works. Not just learn about your cancer, but learn about how the whole body, mind and spirit are connected with politics, religion, and science. How that's all connected. Because it's all connected. Okay, so there is my heartfelt speech for the day, because I had to talk about it, because people will still continue to find articles to substantiate their belief system, and I'm done with it. Drink more freaking water if you have salt in your diet, regardless of what you're doing. I don't care if you're not doing J-Juice and you're eating processed food, drink more freaking water. Okay? Anytime you have sodium in your world, sodium chloride, drink more freaking water and you won't have as many issues as you think you do. All right, bye.